Are you a recovering single? Now, recovering single is a term that I use for someone who's been in a relationship or who's been divorced, who has been separated, or is heartbroken and either looking to repair the hurt and the rejection and the betrayal of those relationships, or maybe they're in a relationship now and they haven't fully recovered. And a recovering single can sometimes find themselves in a relationship that doesn't work, swearing blind that they've done all the work that they need to do to have a fulfilling relationship. For example, an analogy for this, or a metaphor for this, is like jumping back into a marathon with a broken ankle, or jumping on a bike without a saddle. Sometimes a recovering single needs to take time and energy and make a conscientious effort into looking at their childhood injuries, whether it's an inner child or an inner teenager. Now, I'll use two terms there, inner child and inner teenager. These are two archetypes that come up when you're doing shadow work or inner self or trauma work. And while there can be a lot of focus on the inner child, what tends to be missed out here is the inner teenager. The teenage years are a fundamental growth stage in forming your identity, particularly around sexuality and relationships. So as a teenager, all of your hormones are coming on strong. There's needs to conform, there's needs to rebel against authority. And what a teenager can become is someone else. They can become somebody else in order to stay in a household. For example, if your parents threatened you, you're under my roof, you've got to obey my rules. So in all of that threat of being cast out, that threat of being destitute, you change your behavior and adapt in order to fit inside the family model. Now, some teenagers might rebel and do things in secret, and what that does is creates a pattern in your psyche to perpetuate that in relationships where you might keep secrets. For example, you might cheat on a partner and keep it a secret. You might hide chocolates and treats from a partner to keep it secret, because there's a little bit of control in keeping secrets, especially from a partner. If you hear yourself in this, if you hear that you're a recovering single, someone who hasn't quite got their relationship dynamics sorted, or their relationships are running smoothly, or you keep making excuses for your relationships based on how your parents were or your friends are, because your friend circles will also reiterate the kind of relationships that you have. For example, if you have a bunch of friends who have been through a lot of divorce, a lot of separation, or they're dissatisfied with their partnerships, they can all reinforce this model of exhausting relationships. So whenever you want to escape the gravity of these exhausting relationships, or tell your friends that, hey, you know what, I want something else, your friends will want to keep you stuck. No, don't go get help. My partner's like this. Sherry's partner's like this as well. So you can really find yourself trapped in a community and a relationship when you don't know how to trust yourself. And recovering singles struggle with trusting themselves because they've been hurt, they've been betrayed. So that initial trust to get into that relationship ends up being depleted, knocked down, chiseled away. It's the house of cards that fell down when that relationship fell over. Or when you get hurt again in a new relationship, and all of those past hurts that you thought you dealt with by listening to a holistic psychotherapy, or maybe a kinesiologist, or maybe the guy down the road that does tarot readings for you, or you're reading some tea leaves, you thought that you were all healed again and ready to get into a relationship. And guess what? You weren't, because you hadn't done the deeper inner work for your inner child or your inner teenager to move forward with love, compassion, and curiosity. And those three things combined, wrapped in a bubble of grace, can help create relationships for you that are exhilarating, that are exciting, that mean something to you. When you surround yourself with content that can help inspire you or question your reality, and like it and share it, the algorithm tells you more of the same. So if you're someone who wants to keep listening and hearing about changing your relationships, or the truth of the world, or other paradigms or other perspectives of the world and your relationships that you might not have heard before, then like, share, and comment. And if this has raised an epiphany for you, then send me a message. Let's have a conversation about how you can recover powerfully as a single, how you can look at your trauma journey or your relationship journey and actually distill some juice out of that so your next relationship or the relationship that you're in can be powerfully transformed in a way so you don't look back in nostalgia or regret. You look back with, oh wow, those were some powerful lessons that I learned. So when you look forward into your future, you're excited, you're exhilarated, you have hope, you trust yourself and you trust humanity and you trust your partners. So there's no need to regret. There's no need to second guess yourself because every step and every decision you make comes from an inner grounding that you know is exactly what you need to do.